The Monday after a UFC pay per view, usually, we're standing around the water cooler at work, coffee maker, whatever you want, talking about the big fights of the weekend. Fortunately for us Canadians, or unfortunately for us Canadians, it's Canada Day, and we don't get to stand around and talk. So, all of us have holidays. Maybe we're talking with our buddies about the big UFC pay per view, or we were with them on Saturday night. Now, the main event delivered, and that's the fight that I want to talk about in terms of who Alex Pereira should be matched up with next. However, let's dive into the pay per view itself and the UFC 303 card because it was rather lackluster. The main event definitely delivered. Alex Pereira with a head kick knockout in the second round, 13 seconds in. Like, wow, devastating. Arguably one of the nicest knockouts we've seen in ages. Co-main event, what can you say about it? Dan Ige a BMF. He's a beast, stepping up on like 3 hours' notice as Brian Ortega had to pull out due to the flu. Diego Lopez was told he would get his pay for the fight, complete pay, didn't even have to fight. Yet he's a beast, said he wanted to fight, earned a unanimous decision. Both these guys are going to get what they want next from the UFC. And arguably so. These guys both put on a hell of a performance. A decision between Roman Dolidze and Anthony Smith. Not a fantastic fight. Doctor stoppage. Macy Chiasson against Myra Bueno Silva. The Macy Chiasson, she cut her open with a nasty strike, and you could arguably see the skull of Bueno Silva. Doctor left it up to the referee. The referee waved it off. I know some guys didn't like the stoppage in terms of the fact that she wasn't injured or anything like that. She could have kept fighting. Joe Rogan said the same thing, but you got to err on the fighter's safety. So, fight got stopped in the second round. Ian Machado Gary picked up a unanimous decision over Michael Venom Page. Interesting fight. Gary did what he had to do in order to secure the victory. Dana White was not too impressed with the lackluster performance in that one. Michael Venom Page obviously had to keep the fight standing. Gary got it to the mat, was able to utilize some grappling, and in those exchanges, he arguably sealed the deal. What's next for him? Who the heck knows? Joe Pyfer proven that he's got bombs in his hand, overhand right, 1 minute, 25 seconds into round one. Andre Fili picks up the split decision over Cub Swanson. That one was a bit of a toss-up. Jean Silva picks up the TKO knockout uppercut over Charles Jourdain. That was an impressive strike. And the big one, Peyton Talbot defeats Yanis Gemori via TKO right across the ground strikes just 19 seconds into the first round. Now, what the heck do the UFC, or does the UFC do with this guy, Peyton Talbot? Nobody is going to want to fight him. Nobody's going to want to take him on. So who the heck knows what the hell you're going to do with Peyton Talbot? I've talked for 3.5 minutes about this card, and now we're going to get into what I wanted to talk about. The main event. Alex Pereira, who is next for him? Well, let's look at his Tapology. He's on a hell of a run. His only loss was that counter to, his loss in the last few fights was to Israel Adesanya. He ended up earning a split decision over Jan Blachowicz. He struck and finished in the second round Yuri Prochazka. Left hook to ground strikes against Jamal Hill. And then this one against Yuri Prochazka, again, 13 seconds into round two head kick. You can see by my tab up here, the man that's next for him. I will pull it up on this screen there. Magomed Ankalaev has to be the man that's next for Alex Pereira. If we look at his past performances, Johnny Walker, round 2 knockout, UFC Vegas 84. UFC 277, round 2 TKO against Anthony Smith. Prior fight to that, UFC Vegas 50, unanimous decision over Thiago Santos. We'll throw up the screen share again. We'll have a look at his Tapology page. Magomed Ankalaev is 19-1-1 and arguably has done all he needs to do to get a crack at the title. Why he hasn't gotten it yet, who the heck knows? But I spoke about those 3 fights. He beat Volkan Ozdemir via unanimous decision. He beat Nikita Krylov via unanimous decision. He beat Ion Cutelaba via round 1 knockout. A bunch of canceled bouts. Beat Cutelaba prior to that again via knockout. Front kick. Like, this guy is on a run and a half in the UFC. His lone loss is a triangle choke in his UFC debut to Paul Craig. I mean, Paul Craig has great jiu-jitsu, but look at the run he has been on since that. Split decision draw to Jan Blachowicz. No contest to Johnny Walker. I didn't put those in the last 3 victories or last 3 fights, but holy crap. Magomed Ankalaev has literally done all he needs to do to get a title shot. He could have gotten the shot prior to Yuri Prochazka, but ranked number 1 Prochazka did what he needed to do and got the title shot. But Magomed Ankalaev, when will we see this? I know people are talking about Pereira going to... Joe Rogan wants him to go to heavyweight. People want to see him versus John Jones. Dana White has specifically said John Jones is going to be taking on Stipe Miocic if that fight ever happens. But we need to see Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. And I think striking obviously goes to Alex Pereira. His striking is second to none. He comes from that kickboxing background, and we've seen him knock out the best of the best. But where things get interesting is if this fight does hit the canvas and it does hit the ground, and Ankalaev is able to utilize those grappling skills where he takes a guy to ground and he controls him, and he's able to land that ground and pound. Who the heck knows whether Pereira can get back to the feet? We don't know whether his takedown defense is fantastic against a guy to the level of Ankalaev. So it's a fight that I think makes sense. It's a fight that I'd like to see. So book it. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. UFC, make that fight happen. Let me know in the comment section below whether you believe this is the fight that needs to happen. Make sure you check out Slappy's best vodka soda on the market. And make sure you click that like button. Click the subscribe button. Comment and click the notification bell so you know when I have videos dropping next. I got a video coming up this week I'm going to do with my good buddy Antoine Jackson. Probably discussing more Alex Pereira, but well, that'll be coming up. I'm off all summer. There's going to be way more videos coming up for your viewing pleasure. That does it for me. That's a quick Monday video. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev is the fight to make at light heavyweight UFC. Get it done.